and we welcome you. Thank you for coming.
I would, we do have a group here on Oars Island, Bay Island. We call it Cousins Lunch, but the core group are all cousins. And come on in. And we have a little lunch, we gossip a little bit, and then we look at pictures and deal with the history of Oars Island, Bailey Island. We'd be real happy to discuss the history of Great Island too, but we don't have many pictures of those islands, so if anyone has some and you'd like to share them with us, we'd be delighted to see pictures of Great Island and Cundy's Harbor and any of those places. In addition, the Cousins Lunch group has put on has put together a little display back here in the old doorway alcove of advertising from Bailey Island and Oars Island. So feel free after we're done to take a look through any of that you'd like to, or it's going to be here for a while, so don't feel as though you have to rush to look at it tonight. But we'll be rotating some different displays through the library over the summer. We may try one on Tea-Ledge next, and the Indian basket makers that lived here or came here, summers, they lived in Maine. There were the Shays, who are on Bailey Island, and the Knockwoods, who are on Oars Island, were both well-known basket makers in the state of Maine. And so those sorts of displays may show up through the summer. And having said that, let's start taking a look at pictures of Oars Island. It's very rare to find photographs of Oars Island and Bailey Island prior to 1870. And that's because Oars Island and Bailey Island weren't a destination before that. Harriet Beecher Stowe changed all of that in the mid-1860s when she wrote a book called Pearl of Oars Island. Thank you. And by the time she died in the 1890s, that book had gone through 30 some odd editions, and quite like the Outlander series of books today, everybody wanted to come here and see where the Pearl of Oars Island was, and there just wasn't a way to get here. So in the 1880s, about 1888, the steamboat companies in Portland started to have scheduled steamboat service here. And so that opened the door for all of these folks that wanted to visit to be able to access Oars Island and Bailey Island. Even though we had a bridge to Brunswick, the roads were not very good. So everyone came by steamboat. Bailey Island, at that point in time, Oars Island was the draw because of the bridge, because of the Pearl of Oars Island. But Bailey Island had its own draw as well, and so you don't see many pictures of either island prior to about 1888 is when they start. So it's rare to find photographs before, pretty much before 1890, when the tourist trade really started here. So the first photo that's up, and by the way, don't just sit here and listen to me talk. If you've got questions, ask them. Go ahead and interrupt me. If you know something that you would like to talk about, go ahead and do that. It's real informal. I don't have a set spiel to give to you. If you see something you want to talk about in these pictures, go ahead and do it.
Where is that?
This is Portland. But some of the fun things to notice in this picture are that, if I can get it over there where I want it, this is the wrong picture, I can't do that. It does have the bridge in it, which was built in 1926 to 28. But you can see this piece of road here, all the way from where you turn to go down to Garrison Cove, all the way to the bridge. That didn't exist either until the bridge was put in. That hasn't been there for quite 100 years yet. Before that,
So that's Bailey Island.
say that again?
Yeah.
That's Bailey Island. That's when you started talking, you were talking about Orson.
Her
Okay.
name's Laurie.
You can be. I knew there were going to be hecklers. Quite so quickly. So this is Bailey Island. And that section of road did not exist to the bridge until the bridge was built. Until then, you went down the Garrison Cove Road to the beach, which is where you would land when the boat would set you over from Moore's Island. So there was no need to have a road to where the present bridge is. You'll also notice that there is no Bailey Island Motel here. But there is a building here that became Rock Ovens and various other iterations, and has ended up now as Sun Drenched. Very few boats in Garrison Cove over here, but the cottages all do exist along the edge. So this photo is obviously after the bridge, after 1926, but still Bailey Island is kind of sparse.
Sit here, Tom.
I'll be saving that word.
No.
So before the bridge was built, the road dead-ended at Prince's Store. And this is the corner you would make as you came into the store parking lot, which would be here. But these fish flakes, where they would dry salted cod, are now in what is now the roadway. This building here was the Mascot boarding house. Now the only part of that you'll still see is there's a garage that's built into the side of a hill right on this corner. And that was, my understanding is that it was built underneath the porch of the Mascot house before it was torn down. It was torn down, I think, in the 1950s, early 1950s, when the boarding house trade was declining because the roads had gotten quite a lot better. But I do like these various folks. These guys are in their striped shirts. They look like sailors. I don't know what they're doing there, but everybody seemed to come out for the picture. But everybody's kind of lined up here in the background with their dogs and their wagons and their good clothes on. The kids are all lined up. Maybe this was right after church, I don't know.
Waiting for scones.
That could be. That could be. Oh, that's Bailey Island. We don't want that. This is, I think that Library Hall may or may not be there, but if it is there, it's out of the picture on the right-hand side. But this is the Root Cottage up behind Library Hall. And this building belonged to a Root daughter who was Clara Louise Burnham, was her married name. She was an author as well, and wrote quite a number of books, including one called Dr. Latimer, which was set on Bailey Island. didn't quite take off like the Pearl of Wars Island did, but this house here has just within the last couple of months been torn down. This was called the Parker Lucky House. It was recently purchased and demolished maybe a month ago.
The Glacier House, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Jerry, can you maximize the screen?
Can I do what?
Maximize, expand it so it doesn't have all the icons?
No.
Go the other way, Jerry.
Just click on this, on the screen, or
Just on
drag
this- just
drag the
on this
mouse off the
screen.
screen.
Oh, it's a little better. Bailey Island Bridge, 1928. This is the span of the bridge. This is the scaffolding work that they had to put up while they were building that span. They built both ends of the bridge to the middle of the span and then had to finish it off.
Could have been a little wider.
I won't get into that, but you can talk to the guy right next to you. He's probably one of the guys that prevented it from being any wider.
That would be my brother, not me.
That's correct, that would be your brother. I put this one into the lineup specifically because I told Rob Williams that I had this picture and then I couldn't find it, and he called me a liar. But I found it. I found it the other day. I don't see him here, so I guess it doesn't matter. But this is his parents' house. The Merritt House is just in behind it, but this is where Nancy and Bill Williams lived. The sign appears to say Rockmere Cottage. I've never heard it called that, but
It's still standing?
it is still standing. It's painted bright red. It's on the right-hand side just before you get to the Steamboat Road where the Merritt House is. I'm not sure who the present owner is, but it is still painted bright red.
It was John Johnson's before.
It was John Johnson. John Johnson was Nancy's grandfather, great-grandfather? Great uncle, great uncle. This one just appeared today on the Harpswell Yesterday's Facebook page. If you haven't seen that, you should climb onto Facebook and do a search for it. It has a lot of Forza Island, Bailey Island, and Great Island photographs on it. It was set up so that you can post your own pictures, and it's also sort of sponsored by the Cousins Lunch Group. But this picture was put on this morning, and we don't know where it is. It was with a group of Oars Island pictures, but we can't place where it is. It's,
No idea who the gentleman is.
no, nothing really looks all that familiar. It could be down here at near Prince's, but the man that posted it thought it was the Porter's cottage on the Lehman Road, but we have it on good authority that it is not. And I agree with that. I looked at it and I just don't think that's the right neighborhood. But nope, we don't know who the man is. We don't know where the cottage is. The background doesn't look familiar.
Definitely been bought.
Why there's so few trees?
Why are there? Well, what trees didn't get cut down early on just to clear home lots was probably burned in the wood stove. There are far more trees now than there have been in a long time. Oars Island was originally purchased in the mid-1700s for its trees. They were doing a lot of cutting on Harpswell Neck and shipping that all to Boston, and everything was made out of wood, so wood was king. And the Orr brothers purchased the island specifically to log it off, and then the cleared land was sold off for homesteads. And you know, everything was used for wood. They were building boats out of it, they were building homes out of it, they were heating with it, they were cooking with it. And eventually, wood had to be imported. Prince's Store had a building that was specifically for the storage of wood and coal. It arrived on schooners. I don't know where it came from. Probably from down east further. Most of the wood that was cut here went to Boston. And when there was no more, well, Maine's covered with wood, so it probably came down a lot of the rivers. But you look at the old pictures, there's really very few trees on any of the islands by the late 1800s.
Did people, I mean, I know when we were growing up, we burned all the fields and stuff, which also kept the growth of new trees down. How far back did that go? It also got rid of the ticks
It did get rid of the
and
ticks.
promoted blueberries.
I
It
imagine
was a good
that,
thing.
I imagine that was a thing to do right from the very beginning, was to burn the fields off.
And didn't you say that there was spark, when they were lumbering on the neck, that sparks came and set Bailey Island on fire?
There's a brief passage in Wheeler's history of Brunswick, Harpswell, and Topsom that talks about cutting wood on Harpswell Neck, and that they were burning the slash piles from all of the limbs and branches, and that embers blew across to Bailey Island, caught it on fire, and destroyed it. I'm not sure how you destroy a ledge in the ocean, so I'm guessing that what they meant was that they destroyed the value by burning all the trees on Bailey Island. I'm sure if somebody did some soil samples, they could probably find out when and exactly where the fires occurred. But I think that it seems to me from what I've read that there may be some trees were saved up around the north end at Water Cove and maybe down toward Land's End. Hannah Bailey early on still had a woodlot down in the Land's End area, even though she lived on the north end of the island. Her woodlot was on the south end. So Bailey Island, I think early on, did have some trees on it and lost most of them, which is why it ended up being attractive to William Black. He moved up here from Kittery to get away from the English authorities, who were upset with him for having a white wife. He was a mixed race man, and he was looking for a place to stay under the radar. And Bailey Island, having lost all its economic value because of the fire, seemed like a good spot for him to hide out, so to speak. William Henry Sinnott, the man who's responsible for giving the town the walkway to the giant stairs. I have no idea what he's trying to look at.
He was a grandson or of Michael Sinnott or son? No, he must have been a grandson.
Oh, well, He would have been at least a great-grandson of Michael Sinnott, probably. It gets complicated. Michael Sinnott was here on Orr's Island, basically on this property that we're on now, from the shore of Beals Cove to the back shore. I'm not sure how wide his property was, but his own house was built a few hundred
The park,
yards down here.
right, what's now the park?
Yeah, well, actually, behind the house right across from the post office.
There's a depression there.
There was one, I think they filled it in now. There was a depression there, but his house is now over behind Chip Black.
Right.
It's painted green. But that was the original Michael Sinnott house. It still has it for rafters up in the peak. It still has trees. They're only flattened off on one side to lay the roof boards against. But that was Michael's house.
His granddaughter, or one of his granddaughters, built our house
Mhm.
across the street. And
Yep.
that also has just some flattened
Does it?
poles for what we
Rafter
call
poles.
studs.
Yep. I'm not sure how far up Michael Sinnott owned, but he's said to have built 10 houses on his property for various family members. I think one of them was Sue Baker's down here at the head of Lowell's Cove. I believe that was one of his son's houses that he built. Royal Rest, I think, was one of the houses that was built, that he built. That was on his property. But I'm not sure where his north line was. But he was abutting Will Black down here on this end. But William Sinnott, the Sinnotts did eventually end up moving most of them to Bailey Island, and William Henry Sinnott would have been probably a great-grandson, I think. He lived on Washington Avenue and owned quite a lot of acreage there. Most of that land was called the pasture, and it was flat land that was used for grazing cattle and then became broken up into cottage lots. And the main complaint that the new residents had was that Captain Sinnott's cows kept sticking their heads in through the windows of the cottages. They left the windows open. The fences were not were a little substandard, I guess. So that may be what he's doing now, is looking for some kind of traveling around. He's standing basically at the corner of Route 24 and Washington Avenue, looking north, and you can see under his elbow here there's a substantial house. That was a boarding house called the Ocean View House, and then just to the right of it, a little further down the road, is the Woodbine boarding house. Bailey Island had a fair number of boarding houses to support the tourist trade. But those were two of the largest ones, neither one of which exists anymore. And this is how you would have gotten here. I believe this one is the American Egg. And I believe that she was rated to carry 102 passengers, and did sometimes, with only 2 lifeboats. You'll notice most all of the steamboats have these planks diagonally on the side, and what I've discovered is that those were, in case they ran aground, you could put those down and they would keep the vessel from tipping over. Apparently going aground was a thing they were prepared for.
Still is.
It still is. It still is in some places. I don't know why that one got thrown in there. That's kind of not in keeping with the other pictures that we've had, but we'll talk about it anywhere. During World War II, Portland Harbor was a fleet anchorage for North Atlantic convoys. And Bailey Island up here was a key piece of that. They had magnetic detection cables that ran offshore and then made an angle and came ashore at Cape Elizabeth. And anything going over those that was made of metal would set off the magnetic detectors, and the boys at Bailey Island would climb the towers that are still down there and be able to triangulate where the target was and tell the folks on Jules Island, where there were some 14-inch naval guns, where they should be able to find a target that was trying to penetrate Casco Bay. There are also minefields in around Peaks Island, and they had, at Bailey Island, they had an anti-motor torpedo boat squadron. I'm not sure how the motor torpedo boats were going to get here from Germany, but we were ready for them if they showed up. This is the intrepid crew of your steamboats. This one also, can't really read the name, it could be the Sebascodegan. But the man to know is right here in the center. It's Captain Charles Morrill, who lived on Oars Island. If you're not aware of where the Captain Morrill house is, it's just before you get to the stone house here on Oars Island. It's painted a nice gold color. Steve Black lives there. And in a few minutes I'm going to show you a video that was a video of a panoramic picture that was taken from the Widow's Walk on the top of Captain Morrill's house that is in sad shape, but is pretty interesting.
So when do you think that photo was?
Captain Morrill was a captain. I can't remember what years that he started to go as captain. He started out as a mate, and then I'm going to say about 1915. So I would say that this was between 1915 and 1920. And not all of these guys may have been part of the crew. They're in Portland, obviously, and some of them might have just kind of skulked over to get into the picture. But, I believe this man over here is the mate. There would have been a purser, maybe a couple of stewards, an engineer. This is the engineer over here. He is George Doughty from Shebig Island, and he also did move over here. Captain Morrill and George Doughty had an arrangement with Casco Bay Lines because they both lived at Oars Island. They would end their day by coming to Oars Island. All the other steamboats ended their day in Portland. So Captain Morrill was the first boat to go to Portland on the morning trip. And a lot of people liked that, and it allowed him to be home at night along with Mr. Doughty.
Captain Morrill was an orphan, right, from Bath?
He was orphaned. His parents both died in a car accident. He was from Livermore Falls, but his uncle, for reasons that I do not know, lived here. And after 2 years in the Bath orphans home, Stephen Morrill went and got his nephew and brought him here to Oars Island, where he became enthralled with the steamboating. He went fishing a little bit in his youth, and he was also part of a 9-man group that went overland to the Yukon, to the gold fields in Alaska. There are some stories that he told that are kind of sad and kind of interesting. Some people didn't make it the whole trip, and they didn't get rich, but they did have an adventure, I guess. But after that, he came home, settled down, and started steamboating, and he built the house that he has, that Steve Black now has, by marrying a Mr. Reed's daughter, and Mr. Reed owned that piece of property, and so Captain Morrow was able to acquire it and live there, which was made him close to the steamboat wharf. I'm sure that was a plus.
What was Mr. Reed's daughter's first name?
She was Carrie Reed.
Any
And
relation to Mr. Reed, who's down by the hotel? That was the Bailey Island Hotel, the little house, Christine?
not that I'm aware of. No, no. I think they do spell it the same way. I think it's, there are some reeds here that are R-I-E-D, but these were all R-E-E-Ds. This one is John Darling, and he's not a Bailey Islander necessarily, or an Oars Islander necessarily. He did live on both of those islands, but he spent a lot of his time off on Pond Island, living by himself in that shack. If you read some of the histories that are written, he was sent out there, marooned out there for misdeeds by the town of Harpswell, but that's not entirely accurate. We could spend a whole night just talking about John Darling, but he was quite a character in town. But a big man, and that's another shot of his cabin.
He lived there all year?
He was there all year for at least 15 years. He was very poor. His wife died of cancer. His children were all taken to the Poor Farm, to Pineland Mental Hospital, and his daughter was sent to the Women's House of Industry in Hollowell, which was basically a juvenile detention center, because they didn't know what else to do with her. And John lived off on Pond Island for, well, from about 1900 to 1915-ish. Some of the more touristy histories will tell you he was marooned out there, and that he ate rotten fish and seagulls, and that in the end he was found frozen to death and eaten by the rats. But the truth is that he didn't die on Pond Island. The town removed him from Pond when he got to the point where he wasn't able to take care of himself. They put him in a cabin on Great Island, and the coroner's report says that he died of a hernia, a strangulated hernia and exposure in January of 1918, which I take to mean that there was probably a snowstorm. Because of the hernia, he couldn't get out of bed to feed the wood stove, and he probably did freeze to death. And whether the rats got him, I couldn't say. I don't know. But he didn't die on the island. He didn't die in Portland, as some of the histories will tell you. He died right on Great Island, and supposedly is buried at the Oars Island Cemetery, but there is no record of that. But often there were not records kept of the poor that were buried in the cemetery. he's another character. Besides Will Black, John Darling is a character that there's enough information. You could talk all night long about him. But he kept his cabin insulated by building a bit of a fence around it and then filling that with seaweed and using that as insulation. Dog fishing. Ward's Natural Science Lab, I think Rochester, New York, would process dogfish to use as laboratory specimens in colleges. They would pack them in formaldehyde, and they would inject different colored latex dyes into the artery, veins, and digestive system, so that students could dissect them and follow them out. And so the process here was to catch them, preserve them, and ship them out. And
Why did they stop that? Why did they stop that?
I don't know.
Because the dogfish had one pup, and so the population was declining.
And they started it because the dogfish were such a pest. Is that right?
I think there was also, I think Ward's Natural Science cut a lot of flack for, not for dogfish abuse, but they also used cats as specimens. And I think over time, people got after them being cruel to animals, and they went on to use different things. Fake specimens. They would manufacture synthetic things that looked like.
They still, well, when I was teaching school, the 8th grade did dissecting, and they would get their specimens of frogs or whatever from Ward's. But Mom was just saying that they stopped with the cats because the college kids would catch them for money and take them in. So if you're missing Fluffy.
We wouldn't know how to upset the economics of college students.
So what was the time frame for the dogfish lab?
Yeah, when it first started, it was over on Harpswell Neck, over near Graveyard Point. There was a unit there that, I don't know if they processed them, but they did catch them. And then it moved to Bailey Island, and they were catching them and processing them at Bass Rock and Cove. Then that moved to Skilling's Boatyard. They had a building there, one of the Quonset huts there, where they would process. And then it finally moved to Orr's Island, where they had a little better facility there. So when did it start? I'm not really sure. It was going on for quite some time. I'm gonna guess in the 1920s it started, and it did go through until the 1970s, probably.
Yeah, I remember it like in the late
60s.
50s and 60s.
Yep.
People that, some of the people who ran it rented any Tower Cottage, your cottage, John, you knew that probably.
No, I didn't.
Because I used to play with the children of some of those people. The Caseys, you remember them?
I do remember them, but I don't remember them living down at John and Eric's
I think
house.
they were there for,
Did the
A
Casey's
short time,
rent
yeah.
someplace before they bought on Bayview?
Yes, they did. Bruce Sennett's house. Bruce
Did they?
Bruce and Pearlie Sennett's house for a while.
Oh, okay, so they were at Bailey Island for a while?
Just a very short time, and then of course they bought that property on ours and built the,
Do you think they were ever out behind the stone house in the Tower Cottage?
no, the original owners of Ward's used to
Big
rent
Nichols?
that one.
Or the original owners of Ward's?
Oh, what, do you know their names?
It was their
Campbell's.
son. and-
Oh, the Gamble, Jimmy and, oh, Gamble. Okay, I guess that's the ones that I knew, but I knew the Casey, Elizabeth Casey. Oh,
They
And
probably were
Lake
visiting.
Creighton.
Well, I don't know how I knew her.
Casey was the head of the,
Yeah, Casey was head of it, that's why. Robert Casey.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
head of the Dogfish Lab.
yeah.
This one's kind of hard to tell where you are, but we're at Prince's Point. This is the store. This is Prince's store in the background. This is Elijah Doughty, who lived close by, and he would take folks out in his sailboat, which usually ended up in a clam bake on one of the offshore islands. He was well known for his sailing parties and his clam bakes. I thought I had a picture of his clam bake after that. Oars Island Bridge. This one's interesting. So if you're going back toward Brunswick and you go onto the Oars Island Bridge, you'll notice here in this picture there are two spans. There's one here and one here. This one has been filled in now. You don't notice it at all. The road's been straightened out just a little bit. And this wooden part of the bridge was replaced in the 1930s. But when you came off of this bridge, back before 1900, when they blasted all of the ledge as you go onto Oars Island, you used to make a hard left-hand turn, go up what is now someone's driveway, and go up on the high ground and across where the mountain road goes now. They decided that that was a little bit difficult for the horses to navigate. Coming down that hill, making a hard right-hand turn onto the bridge, resulted in some accidents and some horses getting injured and some wagons getting damaged. So they blasted this, the state spent the money to blast through the hill where we drive now. But Mackerel Cove, beautiful shot of Mackerel Cove. This is Abner's Wharf, which is still there. But this wharf is no longer there. That was very close, I think, to where the boat launch ramp is at Mackerel Cove now. I'm hoping that there's another good shot of that coming up, but that's not it. Not uncommon to beach out your vessel alongside the wharf to work on the bottom. But few houses on the background. Abner's Point is relatively undeveloped.
So was that the house that the Rogers owned?
No, I don't believe so. I think that would have been closer to the shore.
Is the Abner House?
I don't think it's the Abner house either.
you don't think that's Jim Davey's house?
Because wasn't the Abner House 18-something on it?
Probably,
Is that further up?
but I think that would be just off to the
Yeah.
left-hand
And
side.
fancier, much fancier.
It's possible that that would be Jim Doughty's house, which is where Joanne Rogers has lived most recently. The roof is going the right direction.
Yep.
It's never in my lifetime had a covered porch on the side,
Because that
but,
became the living room.
hmm,
That's where they added the living room.
yeah. It could be. It could be, and then this would be up on the hill where Peter Curtis is, maybe.
So Mom, was the other one, the smaller one of the 4-1Cs, and then they added on to it? Okay. See in the background, where the boat
Right
is?
behind the sailboat.
This one here?
That one.
Yeah.
It's in the right
Is that
location.
what happens, little house?
Well, they added a second section to it, so they doubled the size of the house, the way it is.
Tammy's would have been basically where this building is. But this would have been Bill Muncie's house. It's now where Jim Hayes'
Oh,
family owns.
oh, yeah.
Yep, that would be about the right spot.
And then that would be Glenn's, is Glenn's in front of it there?
No, this doesn't
What's
exist
that?
anymore.
Oh, it doesn't,
This would be Glenn's.
okay.
And of course, well, we don't get over quite far enough, but there is obviously no dockside. That was not built until the 1960s anyway, but. Bailey Island Bridge, of course. Sun Drenched is over here on the other side of the road, and this building was known as Bridge Haven and Pirates Cove. It was a well-known restaurant. None of that is left now. I think that was torn down when, Ron, in the late 60s?
We burned it. Yeah, it would have been in the late sixties, mid-60s, late 60s.
The only thing that's left there is, if you look on the ledges, there is what appears to be kind of a bathtub-sized pool.
Yeah.
And they did keep a seal in there at various times for entertainment value. I'm not quite sure how they kept him in there, but
Does anyone know who owned it when it was Pirates Cove, or who had it built?
I don't know who had it built, but before I don't know, it was Shays and Lords that ran it
When it was Bridge
when it was
Haven?
Bridge Haven, but Pirates Cove, I think Beth Hill addressed that in her book, but it's been so long since I read that, I don't remember.
Ronnie must know, doesn't Ronnie know?
Well, he's pretty old, but. You know who ran it when it was Pirates Cove?
Are you talking to me?
Am I looking at you?
That's Kathy, she's older than I am. She's ancient, she should know.
Okay, I don't know where we're gonna get there.
I think in those early days.
The answer to the question is no, I don't know, and apparently nobody else does.
Pretty informative.
At Lowell's Cove at Bailey Island, there were two structures. There was this wharf, which was known as York's Landing. It was the first steamboat landing when the steamboats started regular schedules at Bailey Island. They didn't land at Mackerel Cove until later on. But this is Lowell's Cove. This is the point where Skillen's Boatyard more recently was. This is Lowell's Cove, and on the shore of Lowell's Cove, about midway on the cove, was this building, which was known as the Spring House. The first floor they bottled mineral water, which was called Bailey Island mineral water. And the second floor was a boarding house. And there are still a few bottles floating around in various people's collections that still say Bailey Island mineral water, but I can't get my hands on them. But that was one of the earlier businesses on Bailey's. This is just the way your freight came on the steamboats, in barrels piled up on deck. And this is Frank Dowdy, a very well-known fishing boat captain. This late in life, he's a lobsterman, but he was captain on at least a half a dozen fishing schooners. Had two of them sunk out from under him. One after being hit by a liner off on the banks. They lost one man, I believe. And the last ship that he lost was the Locketvar, which he managed to run aground in front of Portland Head Light on a foggy night. But they didn't lose any men on that one.
It's quite a record.
It is. He did well. As far as I know, he only lost the one man. Garrison Cove at Bailey Island. This is the point where a little further out Cook's is now. This would be roughly where the boat launch ramp is. I do not know who owned this wharf and building, but it's substantial and it's the only one that seems to be on that shore. This fella here, I don't know what he's up to. He may have just landed someone from Oars Island. He's got a very nice looking boat, but
So where in that picture would the garrison have been? Or is it not in that picture?
it's not in this picture. So behind the cottages that line Garrison Cove Beach is a swampy area. And a little further to the south of that swampy area, the land starts to rise up. And my suspicion is that that's probably the area where it was. It might have even been closer to the shore, to the west shore, along that area, in kind of where Linda Blanton lives, and there's the Whitney's, right across from the Whitney's old house, there's an open lot. And I would think, if I were going to build a garrison house, it would be there where I could see up and down the bay in both directions in case someone was coming to attack. But I don't know that the garrison has ever actually been located, to the best of my knowledge. The Baileys, who built the garrison, lived on that open patch of ground behind the swamp. And I would doubt that they would have built too far uphill from where they were. And I don't think there was any other really suitable place except to the west along the shore there for a garrison. I know that when the Baileys settled there and built the garrison house, Timothy Bailey's wife, who was Hannah Curtis, had a brother. He was Benjamin Curtis, and the story is that he liked to drink, he liked to shoot his gun, and he liked to race horses. Unfortunately, the signal for everyone to gather at the garrison house was to fire a gun 3 times in the air, and Benjamin Curtis often fired his gun 3 times into the air, which really irritated everyone when they finally got to the garrison house and discovered that Ben was just drunk again. And they finally told him that if he was going to remain on Bailey Island, he would have to move further down the island and away from everyone else, which he did do. His nickname, because of his horse racing, was Jockey Ben, and he moved down behind the area of Library Hall up on the ridge, which is today known as Jockey Hill. But he moved down far enough so he could shoot his gun anytime he wanted to and didn't bother his relatives with false alarms. And when the island got divided, when Timothy Bailey decided to start selling off part of it, he kept the north end for himself, and he did sell the south end to his brother-in-law, Ben. And that was the beginning of the division of Bailey Island, which still hasn't stopped. This picture is full of all kinds of interesting things to me. This was taken by George French, who worked for the Maine State Tourist Bureau, and he toured the state, took hundreds and hundreds of pictures of people working around the state. This is Mackerel Cove. This is Glenn's Wharf or Abner's Wharf. This gentleman standing here is Jim Doughty, who lived again where Joanne Rogers has more recently lived.
Is he related to you, Jerry?
He may be.
Want to talk about it a little more?
I can talk about how he's related to you. He is a brother to my grandfather, and he is also a brother to your grandfather.
And several other people in this room.
And I probably shouldn't go any further with it, how who we're related to or how. I believe, though, this boy standing next to him is Glendon Johnson, for whom Glendon's Wharf is now named. My mother, when I was a kid, always told me that Gramps Fish House had a sign over the door that said witches, and I could never figure out why that was. Witches were invited or not invited. But I discovered once I was able to zoom in on one of these pictures that it appears to be a sign that might have said sandwiches. I'm not sure why it said sandwiches. Perhaps you could get lobster sandwiches there, I'm just not certain. But I always heard about the barrel for the cod livers that stood by the corner of the fish house. I have no idea if this is the proverbial barrel, but these might be cod livers laid on there. But they would take the livers out of the codfish, put them in the barrel, and the heat would take the oil out of them, and then they could bottle that up and ship it to Portland, and they would make all sorts of delicious medicines out of it. But my grandfather used to like to tease the younger boys. They'd walk in to the area, and he would pull the cover off of the barrel and ask them if they wanted to look in, and they would kind of turn a little bit green, and he'd say, well, boys, this is what you need to have if you want to live a long life. And he'd stick his finger down through all the slime and the scum and just lick his finger off. And
How old did he live? How old did he live?
he lived to be 80-something. I can't imagine why you'd want to live if you were drinking.
Well, your mother wasn't much different. She made meat and stuff too.
And look how old you've lived. Wooden barrels, wooden kegs, everything's wooden. Wood everywhere. Background here, we've got some nice looking Hampton boats. This one's got a tuna fish stand on it. Bass Rock over here in the background. No Quonset hut at this point. Another beautiful Hampton boat off here. And then down here we have two more Hampton boats. This individual is Dysa Doughty. Would you like me to tell him how you're related to Dysa? Dysa would be a son to Jim Doughty, who is standing up here. And it appears that he's got a boatload of fish, which he is providing bait for, I believe that is Jerry Gillum, I think. But what I find interesting here is this basket, which is a wooden basket probably made by the Shea Indian family that lived on Bailey Island. These baskets were used as bushel bait baskets, but they were also used extensively in Aroostook County as potato baskets. These things were the universal carrying basket for just about everything in the state of Maine. Most of them were all made by Maine Indians who would come in and sell them by truckloads sometimes. I like his winch that's mounted on the side of his boat. Dyson doesn't seem to have one. And Gillam's boat seems to be a little bit tidier. And, I like that his engine's exposed. That looks like it was a converted automobile engine rather than a single cylinder engine, but he seems like he's got things put together a little better than Dyson might. Dyson lived in a little shack that was close by the wharf, and when he got older, the story was he never took a bath. And one day he fell off the floats and got a good soaking, and they pulled him out, took him up to his shack, and he got into bed and got under the covers and woke up dead the next morning. They said it was because of the shock of having the first bath in about 20 years.
I thought it was because it was in the winter.
No, I don't think it was in the winter. I thought it was in the summer.
Hey Jerry, waking up dead, I didn't quite get that.
Certainly heard from your father. I don't know what it means. This picture is kind of fun. If you can see very well, this gentleman seems to have his head under a blanket. This, to the best of my knowledge, is a Hollywood film crew on Bailey Island filming a movie in 1924 called Hearts of Oak. It was a John Ford movie. It starred John Ford, it featured John Ford's brother Francis Ford. John Ford and Francis Ford were both Portland boys. Their real name was Feeney, but when Francis Ford got to Hollywood and became an actor, he changed his name to Ford, and then later when his brother John got out there, he decided that he would also change his last name to Ford. But they both grew up in Portland. I'm not sure if it's still there or not, but there was a bar called Bull Feeney's in Portland, and John Ford's nickname when he played football at Portland High School was Bull. So Bull Feeney's is named for John Ford.
And it closed just a while ago.
Did it?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure where on Bailey Island this is. It could be on Washington Avenue. The slope of the hill is right. I don't really recognize the building, but all of the actors and actresses lived in cottages over on Washington Avenue. The Skidmore family had 3 cottages over there, and I have a number of still pictures of the actors and actresses that were in the Skidmore house. So I think that's where they were staying. And I don't know if you're familiar with Diane Gagne, but she had posted a comment that her grandfather was an extra in the film as a chauffeur driving some of the others around. So I haven't talked to her yet, but I want to find out more about that. But this film in 1924 was a silent film, and a lot of the Fox Studios silent films were stored in a facility in New Jersey, and because of the nitrate in the film, which was very combustible, they had fire there that destroyed most all of the early silent films that Fox did. So this film is considered a lost film. They don't believe there is another copy of it that exists anywhere. I'm not sure if I have the only still pictures of it left. I haven't been able to find out online anywhere if there are any other stills from it, but
Where did you get this one, Jerry?
this one I think was in Ada Johnson's collection. This particular one we're looking at now. The others from the Skidmores, my mother collected, and I'm not sure how she got a hold of them. I don't think she got them from the Skidmores, but she may have gotten them from whoever bought those cottages from them. Not sure. The packet of pictures showed the cottages being built for the Skidmores, and then had probably half a dozen still pictures of the actors and actresses at the giant stairs, a couple of shots of them along the shore, and actually I've guessed actually that this picture is from the Hearts of Oak, but I can't fathom any other reason why the cameraman with what appears to be a movie camera would be doing in this picture. It does seem too as though the original picture, which is black, was black and white. Laurie has colorized this one for me, but the original picture may have had something on the back about, I think it might have just said a movie being made on Bailey Island. And at the time we didn't know what it was, but
I think either your mother or my grandmother said something about, don't we have that written down somewhere, that one of them said something about it being that film?
I think the original of this picture said that on the back. I think it said film being made at Bailey Island, but it didn't say which one. That took a little more work to discover which one it was.
That couldn't be Uncle Bill Muncie's house, could it?
I don't think so. It doesn't look like the cove would be on either one side or the other of the building. I mean, it looks very similar. I had originally thought that it might be down at Macca Cove, and that might have been the house, but the ground around it just doesn't look right. So my next best guess would be that it's on Washington Avenue, maybe on Ocean Street going down toward the giant stairs pathway.
So you don't think where those guys are, with that camera, that there's a road right there to their left, about to our left? Like, you know, like going down to Glenn's?
You mean the very lower left corner?
Yeah, not that path to the right, but to the left of the
that.
camera.
This one
Yeah,
here?
right. If they were down on
Maybe,
Avenue Point Loft, maybe.
maybe.
Could that be shore at all? Like,
I don't know, this over here just doesn't look like that neighborhood though.
Yeah, true.
And because they were staying and filming over around the giant stairs, I'm kind of leaning toward this being somewhere over around Washington Avenue, but I'm not certain. And there's the promotional poster for Hearts of Oak, featuring Hobart Bosworth and Pauline Stark.
Wow.
Where do you think was the prison?
The Homestead Inn, Bailey Island. This building in the back no longer exists, and it kind of makes the building next to it look out of place. But the last place on the right before you get to Land's End is the Homestead Inn. It is still there. It doesn't quite look like this anymore, but it does say the Homestead over the front door. this building that still exists was a dining room and kitchens for the boarding house. And what was called the annex was next door, and that's where all the rooms were. When the military took over the point during World War II, the officers lived in the homestead part, and some of the men used the annex as a barracks. And by the time they left in 1945, 1946, the annex was damaged so badly that it just got torn down. And the boarding house business was in decline at the time, so it wasn't felt like it was worth trying to save. If you think we got a lot of ice now, this is, these folks are standing on the water behind Prince's store. And they seem happy about it. Yes. This is the part of Prince's store that we now see down there and use. These buildings here to the south no longer exist, but these were the warehouses where all the fish were stored and processed for the salting process. This woman may be, it's hard to tell, but she may be standing on top of what was a breakwater. That parts of it are still there. It's been knocked down considerably now, but there is still a pile of rock there that you might mistake for a ledge, but it was a man-made breakwater so that fishing vessels could come in and have a sheltered spot to lay up against the wharfs while they were unloading. This building over here is kind of where the awning is that you sit under at the picnic tables at the Salt Cod. And it was, my father always called it the coal shed, but I have some pictures that show a lot of cordwood stacked up here. This may be cordwood right here, this dark area. But the vessels would unload wood, coal, and store it in this building for later resale.
What year was that about, do you think?
I am not certain of that either, but my best guess would be 1930, 1934. There are some photos that I probably do not have queued up where Mackerel Cove froze over that winter, and the men would walk off to their boats on top of the ice and have to chop them out with an axe to get the ice away from them. I'm going to suspect that this is about that same time frame.
When did power first come in town, electricity?
A long time ago.
You can help date by seeing power lines or not.
It may have come to Orr's Island a little before Bailey Island. I don't know for certain. I think in the 1920s, but that is absolutely purely a wild guess.
Jerry was gunpoint got it before Orr's, because in that article I gave Melinda, it says when the first electricity came to Gunpoint. I wonder if they started there and worked their way down.
Don't know that either. I know telephone service, when it first came to Bailey Island, came from Harpswell Neck, underwater. But I don't think the power came in that way. I don't know.
Not even later, yeah, telephone service.
Telephone service was,
1905.
yeah, it was pretty early on. There weren't many phones. There was you know, maybe one in each of the stores. There might have been 2 or 3 stores. I think my mother talks about a phone being in a neighbor's house, and the kids would run to the neighbors and say, you have a phone call, come up to the house.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Some of the boarding houses had phones.
Probably
They had
some of the board.
telephone exchanges at a couple of, I looked into this, we were trying to figure out when phones came out. I just found, I did it by looking at some directories and advertising, and you saw some of the rooming houses would say, we have a telephone exchange. And it started in 1905. They basically said telephone exchange at this rooming house. So.
Could the electrification been part of the rural electrification of the New Deal?
I think it was before that, but maybe not by much. I think it was in the 20s, and I think the New Deal was more into the 30s, wasn't it? I'm thinking by 1925-ish, there was electricity at least making its way onto Orr's Island. Bailey Island might have been longer because of no bridge. I don't remember that there were ever electrical lines going across Will's Gut before the bridge, and that was 1928. I'm not sure just when they showed up going through the gut.
I remember my mom saying that they had a central phone, and they'd get the messages there, and then they would deliver them.
Yep.
She was afraid, he found afraid.
I know that there was an operator's exchange in the Captain York House at the corner of the Garrison Cove Road at Bailey Island. I'm not certain if that was the first telephone operator's office or not, but it was one. There was one in Connie Barker's cottage at down here at Prince's. That was a telephone operator. The people that owned the cottage at that time, the wife was the operator.
Oh, is that the Pennell?
No, that would have been well, that would have been the Putnam Cottage, but the people living there at the time were Webbers.
Oh.
Judson Weber was a purser on the steamboats, and his wife Odessa ran the telephone exchange.
Weren't they Connie's ancestors?
No.
Oh, okay.
They owned it before Connie's family bought it.
Oh.
And the story is that when the steamboat would go up through Martinique Sound on its way to Gurnett, they would go up there to the Gurnett house and let the passengers off, and they'd have a meal up there before they turned around and came back. And the story is that Judson Weber would canvass the passengers on the steamboat, find out how many wanted shore dinners, which took the longest to cook. And when the steamboat went by the end of Orr's Island, they would blow the whistle for the number of shore dinners needed. And his wife would call Gurnett and say, you've got 13 shore dinners coming up the bay, they'll be there in a half hour, have them ready. And and then the telephone exchange moved up to my mother's house, which is the house just to the south of Melinda's Candy Shop. I was there in the living room for a few years anyway, and then moved up here almost directly across Steve's Lane from Chip Black's house. Was where the last telephone exchange was. So it moved around depending on who the operators were and what kind of a lease they could work on. But the electrical power, I suspect that somebody has done that research and has written it. It may be in the evolution of Bailey Island. Beth Hill did a pretty good job of recording those sorts of things, but I can't recall it to my mind right off the top of my head. I'm not sure. The only other thing that I enjoy in this picture is the windmill, which was used to pump salt water up into the buildings to wash down the floors and the tables and the fish and whatnot. I don't imagine they pumped a lot of it during that winter, and there's the windmill again. You can see in the background, this is the old steamboat wharf, and it is taking a pounding with the ice that's up in there. It's already starting to sag out on the end. But this structure here is the overhead trolley for hauling cordwood and coal up into that coal shed. And this is the mascot house directly across from Allison Prince's house, where that garage is. It's built into the side of the hill. It was torn down in the 50s, but it was one of the premier boarding houses on the point. The Prince family really had a pretty good little enterprise going down there. They had the store with the fish business. One of the Prince sons ran the mascot house, which Prince Money had built. The Merritt house was another Prince daughter who ran that. And then at the bottom of the hill where Melinda Richter's shore house is, was Jenny Prince, who had a souvenir shop and an ice cream shop, and she did a lot of business there. So the Princes had things pretty well tied up in that area. And they had also, I don't know if they sold it or gave the property for the steamboat wharf to the Harpswell Steamboat Company, but they made sure that they had an attractive deal there that would allow the steamboat to come in right at the foot of the hill by all of their enterprises.
Why would they tear these houses down? Because they become dilapidated, or
Well,
there's no economics to it, or?
No, it was probably mostly the economics. Although a lot of these buildings were built about 1900. So, for instance, this building would have been 50 years old, which isn't all that old. But I'm sure it took a lot of maintenance to keep it up. And by the 1950s, motels were the coming thing. The roads had improved after World War II. Everybody was a lot more transient than they were when the boarding houses were operating. Nobody was staying in the boarding house. Nobody wanted to stay for a summer. They'd come for a week. And
They
then
were all seasonal.
and they were seasonal. And they, you know, they were probably starting to fall into some ruin, but they just weren't economically feasible anymore. And that was a much larger structure than anyone needed for a cottage. So they tore it down, they reused the lumber. I don't know, Ann, were your cottages built out of any of that
I'm
mascot
pretty
lumber?
sure. Pretty positive.
So your house was built from some of this?
And when did the
looks like it.
steamboats,
It
yeah, when
looks-
did the steamboats stop coming to the
It's
dock
just the
side?
same, and the windows are the same,
Yeah.
Around what year?
dormers the same.
I think some of the, in the 1950s, after World War II, again, automobiles started to
And all
be
that?
more plentiful, the roads had improved a lot. I'm not even sure that Route 24 was paved over much of it in the 30s. And I do know there are some newspaper articles where the town had stationed a bulldozer at the bottom of Tower Hill up here by the ice pond to help vehicles get up over the hill in the mud season. So just when they got paved and how far, I'm not really certain, but after World War II, everything started getting paved, automobiles started to get a little more robust, they could handle the roads and whatnot. And, you know, everybody became more transit. That is Hillman's store. So Prince's Point, down by Prince's store, was one kind of a neighborhood village. But up here at this intersection was another neighborhood. Had its own stores, its own ice cream shops. Lowell's Cove was a neighborhood unto itself. So before the Hillmans had this building, out behind it was Hard Black. Shall I tell them how you're related to Hard? No? Okay, never mind. And so the Blacks had, actually before Hard Black, there was Joshua Robinson, who had the store out behind this building. Joshua sold it to Hard Black, and that building burned in the 40s.
1927.
27, I was off a little. That building burned in 1927, and I think at that point, this building, which had been Joshua Robinson's house, may have developed into the grocery store that the Hillmans later ran. This was known though as Robinson's Corner for Joshua Robinson. And I was told once by Ruth Dowdy that this was this intersection was the location of the first stoplight in Harpswell. Apparently there was some sort of a post that was driven into the ground with a light on it. And I didn't get all the mechanics of how it all worked, but the bottom line is that it caused so many accidents from people running into the post that they hauled it out and did away with it. So that was enough. But just out of the picture on the left-hand side was the post office and a general store. And the buildings in the center were also part of the Robinson family. One was a barber shop and one was an ice cream parlor. And at one point, the original fire station on Oars Island was out behind this building on the road down.
And it burned down?
Little Island. It did not. It is still there. Stan Keyes later bought it and renovated it and lived in it.
And he kept the red light out in front of him.
He did keep a red light out in front of him.
Definitely the red light district.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure that that was anything to do with the fire department. I didn't ask. He didn't tell.
The movie Blow the Man Down had some racy things about us. Remember the movie about 4 years ago, Blow the Man Down?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was kind of a red light district probably right there.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, a part of that movie, the very end of the movie was shot down here on Prince's Point. I think there's a woman. I can't remember now how that scene went, but it was the Kling Cottage down here was featured in part of that movie.
The two sisters walk down the road, and the road going down to the yacht club, and the police come together and they kind of say, let's let it be, or something like that.
Yep.
There was the red and white store down at the bottom of the hill.
The red and white store was down at the bottom of Lowell's Cove Hill,
Yeah.
right where the corner is.
Yeah, I was looking at the picture, but yeah.
Yep. It was a grocery store several times over. It was the red and white store, it was the blue store. It was Lynn Scott's store. It went through several storekeepers and owners over the years.
These were competitors?
No, they were just one after the other in the same building. Oh, it's competitors with the Hillmans?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think the Hillmans were kind of after the red and white store may have fallen
They
away.
were simultaneous. Because I can remember as a kid, my grandma shopping at both. So.
Yep.
And the Hillmans, didn't they live
They lived in the back
in the
part.
building in the back? And
The store was actually, as I remember, it was only just like one room
Yeah.
in the
in the
front.
front, yeah.
And you walked out behind the counter and up a set of stairs, and you were
Stairs,
out
yeah.
in their back, in their living quarters. It was quite a small area. I was always fascinated. They had a hamburger grinder, and they would throw the meat in the top, and I would watch it squirt out the other end.
I remember that one.
And I'm just fascinated with that whole process. I don't know why, but.
I think she's the only person that ever worked there.
Huh?
Every time I went in, she was there.
Yeah,
Oh.
I was just fascinated with that whole process.
Our family worked there, so.
Didn't take much to fascinate you, did it?
Watching hamburger be made.
When you came off the steamboat at Oars Island and got onto the shore, you were greeted by the popcorn peanut man, who had his equipment there. I got zooming in on all of this contraption the other day, and I really got kind of fascinated with this. I don't know if it grinds hamburger or not. I was looking at all the chains and the pulleys, and I was thinking, what the hell is that? There must have been a firebox in here somewhere, because it's got hot popcorn. And this looks like steam equipment here. There's a water sight glass, so there had to have been a water tank and a drain. This is draining into the bucket, and I'm like, man, this thing is cool. Got big gears and does all kinds of things, but they got everything but a monkey.
But there is a picture of a monkey somewhere.
Yeah, they've got 4 of them there.
You missed your call.
But peanuts and popcorn, as you get off the boat, I have no idea who the man is that ran it. I've never heard of his name mentioned. I don't recognize him as anyone that was living on Oars Island, but don't know. And this is the place that ruined everything, the Pearl House. I've never, by the way, been able to read the whole of the Pearl of Oars Island. I managed during COVID to get halfway through, and then I decided I'd rather get COVID than I still have the piece of paper in the middle where I left off, and I don't plan on going back to revisit it.
Jerry,
It's a great story, but it's horrible writing.
A much better book about Oars Island is Brunhilde of Oars Island.
Haven't been able to get
Really
that one
worth
either.
reading. Excellent. So it's a romance novel.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot better than
It's a lot less boring than
in my opinion.
And then what's the books about the Gillum girls, what's it called? What was that called?
Nope, you're not gonna get me. There's too many Gillums still living around here.
Dr. Bailey.
Dr. Bailey's Daughters.
Yeah, that was equally bad.
Dr.
Although
Bailey's
it did
Daughters.
That's a
talk,
person laying there.
Do you have a copy?
no, but I think that somebody here does.
You think so?
The library ought to have it.
But you would think the library would have a
It's a
copy.
very elusive book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Bailey's on Spelt the Gillum girls on
No comment. This is back to Elijah Dowdy, the fellow that had that nice sailboat full of partiers. This looks like they're on their way home from after the party by the looks. We've got a couple of ladies laid out. Just saying. I don't know,
Seasick. Or parts, I hope, yeah.
But people did like his parties, I guess. Most of them seem to be smiling here. This must have been going to the party. But,
It's the same one, because there's that lady's head.
yep. This is another character home from the Pearl of Wars Island. This is the Aunt Roxy house, which is at the corner of Bayview Road. It's still there. It's kind of hidden in behind the lilac bushes, but...
And the bittersweet, they put it along their hedge. They are the cause.
But this was one of the locations in the Pearl of Wars Island, and everybody wanted to come and see it. And another one, the Captain Kittredge house, which is now down where the Oars Island campground was. Susan Bond, I think, still lives there.
Beth.
Beth?
It's Beth.
Beth. Beth
Yeah, she's
Susan.
still there.
I've never been down there. These look like two houses, but are they two houses or are they one? Maybe they're one.
Yeah, that's one.
He added it on.
And are they,
Before
do they
John
still look like
died,
that?
he added on a back piece. Because that house belonged to my mother's side of the family at one time. Long time ago.
Those Wilson people.
Yep, those Wilsons, on Perkins Corner.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Captain Kittredge of the Pearl of Wars Island was supposed to have lived here. Although there is no one by the name of Kittredge that has ever lived here. Merritt House. The Merritt House from standing at the steamboat wharf. We're having a party. We've got all the party lights strung across. We've got the big flag out, so I'm guessing 4th of July. But everybody seems to be having a great time. Can't see much up in the background, but there's a crowd gathered on the top of the hill. And so, here's our popcorn cart. Doesn't seem to have any patrons at the moment. But you can see there used to be a road that would go along the edge of the shore over to Prince's store. I wouldn't suggest that you try walking it anymore, or you'll get in some serious trouble. But these two buildings have now joined together in our the shore house that Melinda Richter has for rent, reasonable prices, I'm sure. Best deal in town, right?
Yeah.
But they apparently sold Moxie and souvenirs and milk chocolate and ice cream.
Well, Jerry, I think we're gonna have to have you come back to,
I got thrown out of here before. Too. Not the first time I've been thrown out for staying longer than I.
Put a bookmark and we'll know where you left off.
yeah. And you have a lot of new photos that I've never seen before, so.
Yeah. All right, well.
Shut the lights off on you.
I would, well, that's happened to me.
That happened.
She wants to go home, let her go.
I would encourage you that if you have photos that you'd like to share, get a hold of myself, Melinda Richter, Laurie Smith, Beth York, or even Ann.
Or Chip Black.
Or Chip, oh, yep, well, I don't know. We would love to see them, we'd love to make copies of them and include them in a presentation. We talked about having a day, maybe even one day a month, where we would be here at the library with a scanner, so you could bring pictures in and scan them and you could take them right home again.
That's a good, we don't want the pictures, just the scan.
But we'd love to add to the collection that we've got. It's too bad for pictures to just sit and not be looked at.
Really? Yeah.
So, because it is getting dark, I would encourage you to look at the advertising back there on another day, when there's a little more sunlight going on. But
And with the display, there's a blue notebook where we've asked folks to sign if you've been here as a guest book, but if you have any information to add to what we had, please do so.
Yep, we don't know everything, and if we don't learn something new, we feel like we failed
Our job.
at our job, which is to gather.
Are you gonna introduce your wife?
Hmm?
Are you going to introduce your wife?
I wasn't,
I
not
didn't
going
think
to.
She's
No more
actually
than,
here.
no more than I was gonna introduce my brother or my cousin. I would introduce Connie, of course, but she wouldn't want me to, so. She's the only one that I'll admit to them.
He'll admit to you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.